what's up guys? It's a hot one today. We're finishing up this hardscape. Whenever you build a hardscape that's going to last forever and look beautiful, you need to do some landscape around it. So that's what we did today. We did put some landscape in and mulched it. We put some edgers around the bed. This video really is about building a walkway patio that's going to last a long time. So I just kind of let that part out about the landscape and the edgers. I'm getting a lot of questions on the channel about what we put down for grass seed or for seeding. That's what we're getting ready to do right now. We prepped the dirt, and what we're putting down is Hydroseed. It's just, this thing's full of water. This mulch is just, it's a wood fiber. It's got some paper pieces in it. It provides moisture and it helps for erosion. So that's what we put in first. All my mulch is in now, and then we're going to add our grass seed to this mixture. I need a half a bag, which I've got here. So pour in my grass seed, which by the way is like buying gold this year. Let me see that flat shell. We'll have some loose seed up here I'm going to add. Always, always, always carry a scale with you and measure this stuff carefully. The last thing you'd want to do is get too much seed in that mixture. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to add my fertilizer. So that's it. Hydro mulch, seed, fertilizer, and then we add herbicide called Tenacity that keeps the weed seeds from germinating. All right, let's start it up and mix it all up, and then we have a slurry that's going to grow grass like
none other
tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's going to be a perfect lawn in here tomorrow. Grass growing goodness. Hey folks, congratulations. All the hard work is done. We're going to do the rewarding work now. You've put in your base right, you've done your edge right, you've laid your pavers, you've cut it, it looks good. The only thing left to do is fill in the joints. You have a couple of different options here. The absolute cheapest thing you can do, and I wouldn't recommend this, is just sweeping in a regular sand. The problem with that is you can't pressure wash it, weeds grow in it. Or you can do a polymeric sand. It's a sand that has a glue in it. Its life expectancy is about 3 to 5 years. The drawbacks with that are after a couple of years, especially in the shade, it absorbs moisture and it tends to turn black and gummy, and it'll grow weeds, and you need to replace it. The good thing about it is it's cheaper. What we're using right now is it's a wet sand. SRW has one called Wet Lock. You can get Easy Joint makes one. These are all wet sands that you sweep in. They're air activated instead of water activated, and I think the life expectancy is about 15 years on it. It's considerably more expensive, but we find it to be the best option. So what I do when I sweep this in, I'll blow off the patio surface until it's nice and clean. I'll get a soft bristle broom. By the way, I'm going to drop a link in the description of the video for Tussey has produced 2 videos on jointing sands. There is piles and piles of valuable information in there on jointing sands, both if you're a homeowner to know what to put in and how much you need to spend to get what you're looking for, and also if you're a contractor who's watching these videos. We did a lot of research on it, so check out those 2 videos. There's piles of good information on jointing material. So anyways, back to your project. I take the blower, blow it off, make sure the surface is clean, get a soft bristle broom, and I just go along and dry sweep it in, filling the joints. I'm not real careful to get it perfectly clean. I just kind of spread it over and get the majority of it in. Once you've gone over the entire surface of the patio like this, see, I'm not being picky, I'm letting some there, but I am sweeping, I am filling in the joints, getting the edges. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to use our vibratory plate compactor, a roller plate. This machine just has rollers. You push it along and it vibrates, and it will work that sand into the joint, This step you cannot skip. Even if you think you got the sand in well, this will help settle that paver into the setting bed. Even if you're not using this sand, even if you're using regular sand, you need to run a vibratory plate over it. You can get a real light plate compactor and put a piece of carpet or something underneath it if you don't have one of these roller plates. These aren't quite as readily available, but a light plate compactor works well if you put some cushioning in between that plate compactor and the pavers. So once I have all the joints filled up with sand, I'm going to start this thing and run the vibratory plate over. If you have a very small pad, you can also use a hand tamp. It obviously wouldn't be a practical option for here, but if you have like a 10 by 10 pad, I showed you earlier in the video what a hand tamp is. You just go along and tamp each paver. That can work if you have a small enough area. So now that I've ran my vibra plate over, it's gonna look a little bit like this. You can see that it worked the sand down in the joints some, and it also settled my pavers in place. If there was any pavers that weren't quite even, maybe one that rocked a little bit, that took care of that. It just set it into the setting bed, and usually it'll drop, you know, 3/8 of an inch when you do that. So if you have a paver up against a walkway or a doorstep or something that's about 3/8 of an inch high, it will settle down to flesh. Flesh? If you have a paver that's about 3/8 of an inch high across a walkway, it will settle down to being flush with the doorway. So it does settle it down into the setting bed. Next step, even though I ran the vibra plate over, I want to ensure that my joint is completely full. The best way to do that is with water. You can use a regular garden hose and just simply flood the surface. We use these hydro brooms. Water comes out of here, and we'll go along. Here again, I'm not being super picky. I'm just washing that sand into the joint. Now this is gonna make sure that I'm filling every single crevice with jointing sand. By the way, if you choose a paver, choose one that has, what is it, a 3/8 of a joint? 3/8 of an inch of a joint?
I think that's what they are.
Because EP Henry and a couple of other producers make pavers that almost don't have a joint at all. Super tiny joints. This sand will not work in that paver because you cannot get it down into the joint. Your only option then is a polymeric sand, which is unfortunate. So. Now that I've gone over it with the water broom and I've washed those joints in completely full, they're still not quite full to the top, but I know that they're washed down to the bottom. So it's completely full up to this point. I'm now gonna go over it with my soft bristle broom and clean the surface as well as I can. Make sure that the joints are full all the way to the top. This is almost complete. When I get finished with this sweep, I'm still gonna go over it one more time. I'm just gonna rub the broom over it like this while someone else runs their blower and blows off the little particles of sand that are left on top of the paver. You can look back through there and see there's a few sand grains still on the paver. Those blow off really nicely if you run a broom over it while someone is blowing away. The other thing it'll do is it'll keep you from overfilling some joints. Like say that one right there, that's an overfilled joint. That's about how it should look. The broom and the blower on the very last final sweep will take care of that very nicely. So we're almost complete here. It looks nice already. Okay, jointing is complete. The last step of the project, we're all done. Thanks for following along. This is a joining job that I can feel good about. It's going to last long and it looks great. So, what can I expect to see here in 30 years? I can tell you what I'm not going to see. I don't expect to see any dips or divots in the pavers, any spots where a base filled. I don't expect to see the edges of the patio tumbling off because I did my edging right and my base extended out past the edge of the patio far enough. What can I expect to see here as far as aging in this patio walkway? Because it's a concrete product. Concrete doesn't like the weather very well. Tetra Block and EP Henry has done an incredible job at reducing the amount of aggregates that you're going to see in the concrete over the last number of years. They put a very thin layer on the top of
something that doesn't show aggregate. I'm not sure of the science behind it, but you are going to start to see the concrete paver break down. It's not going to be as bright. There's going to be bits of aggregate showing, but that's, you know, 20 years in the future at least. So that's one thing that I look to see. Probably, I know this joining material is rated to last 15 years, so probably in 30 years you're going to be looking at maybe redoing some jointing. If you're looking for a joining material that lasts even longer, there are options out on the market. They're considerably more complex to put in, and they're definitely more expensive. Like I said, check out our links. We do cover those joining materials. They're not very popular in the United States yet, but they are being used in Europe. So if you want a joining material that lasts longer than 15 years, there are options out there. In the next 30 years, I'm gonna see the pavers not be quite as bright, maybe looking at a joining repair, but other than that, this is going to look the same way 30 years from now as it did right when we pull off from the job. Thanks for following along on the project. DJ and I enjoyed showing you how we do hardscapes that last long and that look good. Hopefully you've learned some tricks to the trade to build something that is worth your investment and that looks pleasing. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. We are putting out new videos every Saturday, so we're releasing once a week. We are covering a bunch of different things on hardscaping and water features. So if there's something in this video that you haven't discovered yet, stay tuned, and maybe in another video we'll cover that. Also, any questions, anything in particular that you'd like to see, let us know in the comments. We'll reach out to you and answer those questions, or possibly we can shoot a video for you on a certain subject that you'd like to see. Take care. We'll see you in the next one.